Have you ever been misunderstood for doing something that made perfect sense to you? People laughed at you, doubted your choices, or called you foolish. But deep down, you knew something they didn't. True wisdom isn't about proving others wrong. It's about knowing what you're doing, even when the whole world questions you. In a quiet town nestled between rolling hills and green meadows, there lived a man named Arthur. He was known throughout the region as the wisest advisor to the king. Whenever the king faced a difficult decision, he turned to Arthur. Whenever the kingdom was in trouble, Arthur had the answer. The king trusted him completely. But trust like that breeds jealousy. In the royal court, there were others who envied Arthur's position. They smiled at his face but whispered behind his back. They couldn't challenge his wisdom, so they waited for any opportunity to bring him down. One morning, after the daily court meeting, the king called Arthur aside. "Arthur," the king said, his voice thoughtful. "You are the wisest man I know. But your son, he concerns me." Arthur felt a chill run down his spine. "What do you mean, your majesty? What has my son done?" The king chuckled softly. "Every morning, when I walk through the town square, I see your son sitting there. And every day, I ask him the same question. Which is more valuable, gold or silver?" He paused, letting the silence hang. "And every single day, he gives me the same answer. Silver." The king shook his head with a mix of amusement and pity. "The whole court laughs when I tell them. A grown boy who doesn't know that gold is worth more than silver. What do you make of that?" Arthur stood frozen. His face burned with embarrassment. He mumbled something about speaking to his son and quickly excused himself. That evening, Arthur found his son, Samuel, in their small garden behind the house. Samuel was kneeling in the soil, tending to a patch of young tomato plants. His hands were dirty, his face peaceful. Arthur stood watching him for a moment. How could this boy, who seemed so calm and thoughtful, give such a foolish answer day after day? "Samuel," Arthur called. The boy looked up, wiping his hands on his pants. "Yes, father." Arthur walked closer. "The king told me something today. About you. About the question he asks you every morning." Samuel's expression didn't change. He simply waited. "Is it true? Do you really tell him that silver is more valuable than gold?" Samuel nodded slowly. "Yes, father. Every day." Arthur's voice rose slightly. "But why? You know that's not true. Gold is clearly more valuable. Everyone knows that. Why would you make yourself look foolish in front of the king and the entire court?" Samuel smiled gently. He took his father's hand and led him toward the house. "Come with me, father. I want to show you something." They walked inside, through the small kitchen, and into Samuel's modest room. It was a simple space, a bed, a wooden desk, a small window that let in the evening light. Samuel knelt down beside his bed and pulled out a wooden box. It was old and worn, but carefully kept. He placed it on the bed and opened the lid. Arthur's eyes widened. The box was filled with silver coins. Dozens of them. Neatly stacked. Glinting in the soft light. Arthur looked at his son, stunned. Where did all these come from?" Samuel sat on the edge of the bed and gestured for his father to sit beside him. "Every morning, when the king asks me the question, he places 2 coins in front of me. 1 gold. 1 silver. And he says, take whichever is more valuable." He picked up a silver coin from the box and held it up. "I always take the silver one. Every single day." The king laughs, thinking I'm too foolish to know better. The court laughs when they hear the story. But they don't know about this box. Arthur stared at the coins, his mind racing. Samuel continued, his voice calm and steady. "If I ever take the gold coin, if I ever give the right answer, the king will stop asking. He'll realize that I know the truth. And once he stops asking, the coins stop coming. He placed the silver coin back in the box and closed the lid gently. I'd rather earn 1 silver coin every single day than take 1 gold coin once and lose everything. This box isn't just full of coins, Father. It's full of patience. It's full of silence. It's full of knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. Arthur looked at his son. Really looked at him. For the first time, he saw past the boy and saw the man beneath. Samuel smiled. The king thinks I'm silly. The court thinks I'm foolish. But I know what I'm doing. I'm playing the long game. And one day, when this box is full enough, I'll have more than anyone who laughed at me. Arthur felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes. He reached out and placed a hand on his son's shoulder. You, he whispered, are wiser than I ever was. From that day on, whenever someone in the court mentioned Samuel's foolishness, Arthur simply smiled and said nothing. He didn't defend his son. He didn't explain. Because he knew something they didn't. True wisdom doesn't need to prove itself. It waits. It watches. It collects its silver coins while others laugh. And one day, when the box is full, the world will see what the wise always knew. In your own life, you will meet 2 kinds of people. Those who need to be seen as smart, who correct every mistake, who fight every battle, who prove every point. And those who work in silence. Who let others laugh. Who collect their silver coins quietly, day after day, knowing that patience is its own reward. The first group wins arguments. The second group wins life. So if you know what you're doing is right, let them talk. Let them laugh. Let them think you're foolish. Your box is filling up. And one day, when you open it, they will finally understand. But by then, you'll already be gone, building the next box. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories that change the way we see life. Thank you for listening.